Let us begin with Secretary Teodoro, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow countrymen, we have a prepared statement. The President called a special command conference this morning of the National Security and Defense Cluster in order to be briefed and to give his guidance on the latest violation by China of the sovereignty of the Republic of the Philippines. The Philippine government views the latest aggression by China as a blatant violation of international law. China has no legal right or authority to conduct law enforcement operations in our territorial waters and in our exclusive economic zone. We are taking this incident seriously at the highest levels of government. The use by China of brute force behind disingenuous facades necessitates this course of action. We called for this press conference to give you a clear and factual narrative of what transpired. The Chinese government is deliberately of what transpired. The Chinese government is deliberately obfuscating the truth. The Philippine Navy and the Philippine Coast Guard are here to give you an undistorted narration of the illegal acts of the Chinese vessels. In short, on or about 6:04 in the morning of Sunday, October the 22nd, 2023, while conducting legitimate rotation and resupply operations within the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines, Chinese Coast Guard and maritime militia vessels, in blatant violation of international law, harassed and intentionally hit Unaiza May 2 and Philippine Coast Guard vessel BRP Cabra. This occurred within the 200-mile exclusive economic zone of the Philippines, which China has no jurisdiction, authority, or right to conduct any operations whatsoever. This is a serious escalation of the illegal activities conducted by the Chinese government in the West Philippine Sea, in complete disregard of any norm or convention of international law. Chinese Ambassador Huang Xilian has been summoned today by Secretary Enrique Manalo of the Department of Foreign Affairs to condemn the reckless and illegal act of the Chinese government. Likewise, Philippine Ambassador to China, Jaime Flor Cruz, has been instructed to convey the same to the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The Philippine Coast Guard has been directed to proceed swiftly with its maritime investigation in accordance with international maritime safety regulations. We acknowledge the support of our allies and like-minded nations such as the United States, Japan, Australia, Germany, Canada, the Netherlands, the United Kingdom, and the European Union in condemning China's aggression and expansionist actions. We call on our people to stand behind the government in executing our constitutional mandate to secure the national interest in the West Philippine Sea. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Teodoro. We call on Vice Admiral.
Good morning, gentlemen, ladies. I would like to... I would like to give a
narration of what transpired during the last rotation and resupply mission in Ayungin. On 21 October, that is last Saturday, at about 2:55 in the morning, our team, consisting of two vessels, Unaiza May 1 and Unaiza May 2, left Ostor Bay for a legitimate RORE mission in Ayungin Shoal. Upon reaching Sigatuna Shoal, the two Filipino vessels were joined by two Philippine Coast Guard and two Philippine Navy vessels. But as early as reaching the vicinity of Sigatuna Shoal, it was already observed that a Chinese Navy corvette started appearing in the horizon and started shadowing the movement of our supply vessels. So along this route, the shadowing continued, and while the vessels are nearing Escoda Shoal, the number of Chinese vessels increased, including the presence and the arrival of Chinese militia vessels. Then, approximately 6 nautical miles to the entrance of Ayungin Shoal, UM2 was hit at the rear side at her rear side, starboard rear side, causing damage to the vessel. Unaiza May 1 was able to complete her RORE mission, was able to evade the militia vessels, and went alongside LT-57 to complete her mission, while Unaiza May 2 was restricted in her ability to maneuver. The Chinese vessels restricted her maneuverability by sailing very close to the port side or the left side and the starboard side or the right side of the vessel. So she had no option but to find a route back eastward towards the direction of Sabina Shoal. At around 6:04, a Coast Guard vessel intentionally hit her rear side, causing damage to a fantail post. In the end, UM1 finished her resupply mission, but UM2 had to go back to mainland Palawan. At about 8 o'clock also, in the same morning, the Coast Guard, our Coast Guard vessel was hit by a Chinese militia vessel on her left side, causing dent to the Philippine Coast Guard vessel. We can show you a video clip of the incident. This is Unaiza May 2. This was immediately after the collision. The Chinese Coast Guard hit the right side of Unaiza May 2. We have another video clip. This is the Philippine Coast Guard vessel, and you notice how close the Chinese militia vessel was. The Philippine Coast Guard vessel suffered some damage at the rear portion. These were what transpired yesterday morning.
Thank Thank you, Vice Admiral Adasi. Now we have Admiral Gavan, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now, on orders of the President, the Philippine Coast Guard will now focus on the conduct of marine incident investigation. As we speak, I have already issued a directive to our commander in the Coast Guard District, Palawan, to conduct maritime incident investigation immediately. We will focus on determining the extent of damage or damages done or incurred by the vessels involved. But at this point, it is very, very clear that the two incidents are violations of collision regulations. The very regulation we Coast Guards are expected to enforce. So we find it unfortunate or ironic that a fellow Coast Guard will violate the law where they themselves are supposed to enforce. So you'll be submitting the report of our investigation through our department, the Department of Transportation, to the President for final disposition. Thank you.
And now our panel will take some questions. The first question is from Kenneth Paciente of PTV4.
Hi, sirs. Good afternoon po. Kay Sec. Teodoro po. Sir, there is a reported discussion on the Code of Conduct of the West Philippine Sea in Beijing. What can you say about this, sir?
Well, I think it is really very ironic that on this very day, there is the start of the second round of discussions on the proposed Code of Conduct, which is hosted by China. Whereas just yesterday, they were in blatant disregard of international law. And within our jurisdiction, likewise. So, what kind of good faith can we expect from them? And that we will wait for our representatives to that Code of Conduct meeting to disclose or to report to our people. But I repeat once again that what happened yesterday was a serious and egregious violation of international law and an escalation of their expansionist and aggressive action. And yet, today, they are hosting a proposed declaration of a negotiation, the proposed declaration of Code of Conduct. Now, what kind of message is this signaling? I want to know. And we deserve undistorted answers, the truth, from the government of China. Because once again, we repeat, they have neither jurisdiction nor authority to conduct any sort of governmental operations within our 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone. And no justification they can give will stand the test of credence before our own people and, more importantly, before the whole world.
Maris Umali, GMA 7.
Sir, it was already clear from your statement a while ago that the President called this for the command conference because he views this incident as a blatant violation of China. So, by China. So, after directing the investigation, what happens now? Because even the commandant, sir, a while ago mentioned that it is very clear that this is a violation. What happens next?
Well, we will not talk about international operational matters. We will not discuss that. China does not discuss operational matters, neither will we. But we are here to really decry in the strongest possible terms this egregious violation and illegal act within the 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone and the obfuscation of the truth by China's distorting the story to fit its own ends, and the duplicity of China in claiming to be peaceful and claiming to be friendly while resorting to these aggressive acts.
Just a follow-up. Can you explain any potential consequences of these escalating
We will not
risks?
go into any operational details.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Maricel Halili, TV5. Microphone, please.
Hi sir, magandang hapon po. Sir, once again, ganun uli yung pahayag ng China saying or making an appeal to the Philippine government na tuparin yung pangako natin. Is it clear what promise yung tinutukoy ng China dito once again? And again, sinabi nila na nag-practice sila ng restraint and patience when this happened. Your thoughts on this, sir?
Well, in law, we have a principle called the thing speaks for itself. Was that restraint? I don't think so. Any unbiased person with a modicum of reason will see that this is not restraint. And there was another attempt to distort the narrative by saying there was a supposed promise. That has been put to rest already, that there is no promise, and if ever there was such was, if ever, which we do not accept, rescinded. We cannot compromise within our 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone within the bounds of our Constitution. Our Constitution is clear about our territorial integrity and sovereignty, of which there can admit of no compromise, particularly in the face of the arbitral award. So their preface to their statements and their statements are to us a distortion of the truth.
Next, we have Ann Soberano, Bombo Radio.
Sir, good afternoon. Ang tanong ko po is, bukod po sa paghahain ng diplomatic protest, ay magsasampa po rin ba tayo ng kaso sa United Nations General Assembly?
Hindi ko wala po sa aming jurisdiction na pag-usapan yan. Ito lang po na nakaloob po sa aming statement ang aming maaring ihayag sa kasalukuyan.
Sir, with this incident sa West Philippine Sea, panahon na ba para pagtuloyin na natin itong mga gagawing development sa ating Pag-asa Island?
Magiging operational matter nga lahat itong mga katanungan po nila. Hinihimok na lang po namin na ang pagkakaisa ng ating bansa sa likod ng gobyerno sa ating mga hakbang upang isigurado o isecure ang territorial integrity at sovereignty ng ating republika. At kaya po ibinabuti ng ating pamahalaan sa liderato po ng ating Pangulo na maghayag ngayong araw na ito upang sa ganon hindi na po kumalat ang fake news at anumang mga espekulasyon. Wala po tayong pwedeng gawing espekulasyon kung anong mga susunod na hakbangin dahil wala pa po kaming hinahayag. Kaya maniwala na lang po sa ating gobyerno, huwag po itong maging ugat ng pagtatanim ng fake news ng China at ng iba pa upang tayo'y magkawatak-watak o magkadebate ng malaki sa mga issue na ganito. Dahil sa oras po na ito, kailangan po ng pagkakaisa na ating bansa.
Sir, last na po, ano po ang magiging decisive action po ng Philippine government dito sa ginawa ng China?
Operational matter po yan sa inulit-ulit ko. Ngayon po, kailangan kundinahin ng buong mundo at ng bansa ang illegal at mapaniil na mga aksyon ng Chinese government na labag sa kahit na anong norm ng international law, kahit saan libro hanapin.
We have time for one last question. It's Harley Valbuena, DZME.
Natanong na rin po yung question ko pero I'll just ask another question. Sir, bukod po doon sa utos sa PCG to investigate the matter, meron pa po bang ibang directive si Pangulo doon po sa command conference kanina?
Yung tatlo pong sinabi natin, ang pagkundina, to take it seriously, naturally the government is working behind it, but it's not working behind it, but the government's working very hard in its constitutionally mandated task to secure the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the Republic of the Philippines. Although we will not discuss operational matters, our diplomatic authorities, the DFA, has summoned Ambassador Huang Xilian not only to give a protest but to condemn the reckless and illegal act of the Chinese government. And lastly, the Philippine Coast Guard has been directed to proceed swiftly with its maritime investigation in accordance with Philippine law. Other matters are purely operational. At uulitin ko po, magkaisa po tayo bilang isang bansa, and hikayatin po natin ang buong mundo na kondinahin ang paglalabag at pang-aabuso sa international law at sa paghihikayat na magising ang ating mga kababayan na kung tunay na peaceful ang hangarin ng China, hindi maglalabag na ganito. Hindi maglilinlang na ganito ang China sa ating mga kababayan at sa buong mundo.
Sir, how did the President took this incident po? Kumbaga, ano yung mood
The
or reaction
President
niya?
is taking this very seriously. And the President is, that's it. He's taking this very, very seriously, so much so that he called the Special Command Conference this morning. And if you will read the statement, the highest levels of government are giving serious weight to this incident, given the false narrative of China, given the more egregious and aggressive behavior that they display, and given that we cannot take this or tolerate this kind of action or take it lightly, or neither take it lightly nor tolerate it.
So we still have room for one more question from from Ella Hermonio of Nikkei.
Good afternoon, sirs. Regarding the probe on the incident, do you have a timeline on when do you project the results will be out? And